And they're like,
hi, and welcome to Live with the Vibe, where we have the heart-to-heart conversations. I'm Julianne Cantarella.
I'm Jacqui Atcheson.
I'm Amie Blumberg.
And I'm Susan Greif, and welcome to Whoop Whoop Wednesday.
Our new normal, ladies. How have you been dealing with the quarantine?
Going first. Who's going first? Jacqui?
Okay, well, it's very interesting. I mean, I'm home alone. I don't have children. My husband's been going off to work. So as a social human being, the solitary confinement, for lack of better words, has been a little difficult. But once I got through it, I found a lot of things about myself that were really interesting, which we'll share after. What about you, Amie?
Well, I moved. I packed a house. I moved. I've been working a lot on my business. I've been coaching clients. I've had an opportunity to go for walks and FaceTime with each one of you at different times. And it's been busy, really busy. And everybody's working out of one space. So it's been a little hectic, to say the least. So
That's amazing, Amie. Kudos to you for being able to pack and move during this time while you're working and staying with family. That's been really tough for you.
Indeed.
You know, it was a really strange thing because you normally would engage with people and you would talk to them, yet you really had to separate yourself. So while they might have been downstairs packing, I was upstairs on the phone or working or doing something. So it definitely was a really different experience. I have to say that.
Sure it was. And what about you, Julianne?
Where's my drink?
You gotta put it in front of you. That's what I realized.
So I've been home with 5 people in my home, including myself and a dog. I've now been graduated to teacher. So not only matchmaker, training coach, I'm now a teacher because my little guy is 13 and we're trying to keep him engaged in school. And God bless the teachers, seriously. And especially my particular school, they've just been phenomenal and they've stepped up and they've been so great. Believe it or not, I still have coaching clients who are out and dating and making connections. I won't say relationships because they're not there yet, but definitely connections. And playing a lot of games at dinner time. We've always had dinner together regularly because my kids are home, but now we're playing charades and, you know, all different type of games together. So we're making the best of it. We're making the best of it. How about you, Susan?
Well, I'm home. I have my 2 single sons back home, back from their single life, and with my husband, and they're so busy with their business and trying to balance things out, as well as I am. But I give them their space because I like my own space, and going for walks, the meditation, and so forth is where I need to be. Just trying to figure out how to move forward with where we are right now as far as business. I had the opportunity to do some podcasts and in turn some virtual network groups and got a client here and there, and so that was great. But my job that was thrown in my lap was being a daily grandma to my 2 grandchildren, and so from 2 o'clock on I am like in play mode, creativity mode, exhaustion mode, learning modes, and carrying a heavy baby mode. So, it's all been, I just have to say, I'm really so very blessed.
It's a good workout too.
It's a workout, but just with my left arm. I don't really work out so much. But it's, I just feel so blessed that I have the opportunity with all of my children. My other daughter with the kids, they live a few blocks away, so they come every day. Unfortunately, my other daughter and her husband live in Florida, and I miss them terribly. So I hope seeing them too soon. And Jacqui, I know we talked about your grandchildren not being around.
Well, it's rough. I'm on the other end of the spectrum where both of my son-in-laws are first responders. One works for the news and one is a police officer, NYPD. So unfortunately, Corona is part of their world. And my son-in-law unfortunately contracted it, and my daughter contracted it. They're all good now, but I can't even imagine when this is going to let up, when I'm ever going to be able to see them, because they could be bringing home corona at any given time. And my husband and I are over 60. So there's a real concern about health issues and aging. So I miss them terribly. I mean, we FaceTime, but to smell them and to touch them. And then again, my husband's business also, like everyone else, has gone down a little, but at least he has a place to go and his routine is somewhat the same. My business, unfortunately, has changed too when you're dealing with divorce, because everybody's home with their children or even their soon-to-be ex-husband, and they can't even find the time to talk to me because what they're talking about is so close and near and dear and doesn't involve anyone in the family. So I've had to learn how to do other things now. Everyone who knows me knows I like to cook. So I am doing some virtual gardening, and I'm doing dance parties with grandchildren and my sisters. And thanks to Susan, I am now officially coloring. I am doing all the things, I guess, that I always wanted to do, but never really had the time. And I'm taking my walks. And Susan and I actually have had a number of walks, which are great, socially distancing.
On the other side of the street from each other?
Yeah, yeah. But I'm stopping to smell the roses. I'm seeing things that I pass every day that I never took time to appreciate. Yeah. So, you know, part of the lessons and things, I'm like, what am I going to take out of this in my next life? And it really is about slowing down and smelling the roses and knowing that if the sun isn't shining today, I took pictures of it shining yesterday. There's a reminder that it'll be out again tomorrow. These are things I wouldn't have done before. So I'm blessed. In a way, I'm taking out of this really good stuff. I just miss my children and grandchildren more than I could say. I mean, you guys, in that respect, I have to say, I know it's chaotic and crazy, but
oh no,
don't have it, it's such a loss. It's
believe me, I appreciate it. And I think that's I had an aha moment probably the end of last week where I said, this is really time. I mean, I knew it, but this is really time that I'm going to reset. I really, looking back, and I'm sure all three of you could agree that we were on the hamster wheel, running, not only our brains, but emotionally and really like just back and forth and going between the businesses and the family and even our show Live with the Vibe. Like we were constantly going. And now I'm able to, I have to say, I think I said, I don't remember who I said this to, but I'm sleeping better. I'm actually sleeping better, which is huge for me, huge. I really wasn't sleeping well. And now I'm taking this time and I'm saying, you know what? How can I be a better me for my clients? It was just really important. I mean, obviously for my family as well, but really I'll tell you, I really put a dent in my book, which says a lot.
You did.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that. And the knowledge that I have of 15 years in this industry that I'll get to impart, you know, beyond the clients I get to work with. So that's exciting.
Good for you.
Great.
Well, you know, it's so funny you talk about time, and for me, having to have had move during this window of time, and so we're living in a temporary spot, nothing seems real, and you almost feel like you're suspended in time. But what's kind of interesting about it is what I've learned is that you don't need all that stuff. And so what we did is we moved into a furnished location for about 6 weeks. And we packed up our house and we got rid of things and we purged, which, you know, we've all talked about. It's how great to purge and cleanse and clean. And so you offload so much. But what it taught me is that you don't need as much stuff. You don't need to buy as much. I mean, we brought a certain amount of clothes, a certain amount of everything. And it's kind of nice because you don't feel that heaviness and that weight of carrying all that stuff. And granted, part of our strategy is to downsize and to live somewhere smaller and to really make some decisions moving forward with our future. And I have to say, I don't miss all that stuff. I think I miss space because we're all very close knit and we're in a 2-bedroom apartment, you know, where we lived in a 4-bedroom house. And I think people find that, you know, it's a lot of togetherness, but what's been really kind of cool about that is that togetherness has really allowed for family time and for the things that we were all talking about before. playing games together, talking to one another, watching TV together, because we would all be in a different room watching TV. So it's really fostered a very different family dynamic, but it's also shown me you don't need all that stuff. And I know that that's not great for consumerism and for shopping, but I think what it does is it makes you put your values of what's important in different places. Yeah. And so I've learned a lot from this experience.
Right. I have to agree with you. I mean, I think going back to basics is something that I've learned about this. That was my lesson, like going back to basics. What is really important in life? Spending the time, that connecting with your children. I mean, my single sons, how great are they back home, so I can spend that time with them, spending extra time with my grandchildren, which, I would probably see every, once a week or something, but I get to watch them grow. I get to connect. I speak to you ladies. I catch up with friends from the past I haven't seen or spoken to in a long time. Relationships. And we talk about the importance of the tribe because we've also learned that when we're isolated, I mean, it creates a lot of stress, anxiety, and depression. So, that's the other lesson, the importance of not only having your own tribe, but reaching out to others who might be alone, who need help, and so they don't feel alone, and that you can do for them, the kindness, the compassion that goes when you start thinking about what's important in life. And that's about taking care and being kind to others without draining yourself, because it's always about self-care.
Yeah.
It's funny you should say that, because coming now that it's just me and Frank home every night, it's a whole different dynamic. And for my clients, one thing you said, Amie, that struck a nerve was the downsizing as we're getting a little older. And that's something that I deal a lot with my clients going through the gray divorce, which is, it's my specialty. And I could see where the real estate market, like you, is going to be hit a little from gray divorce and this, because it's the downsize. It's that funnel, just like with our clothing and everything else in life, realizing what you really need and what you don't need. Like now, I have one big living space and 2 bedrooms, as you both know. So my dining room, I always kept it neat, pristine. We never sat there. It's now become the card table. It's an everything table. And it's my art. And I don't care, because what used to be important, it looks so pretty, I don't give a hoot anymore. It's not important. We play Rummy Q every night. We're connecting on a different level. We call my mom, who, if anyone knows me, knows my mom, you can go a week or 10 days and this woman would never pick up a phone. Now she's joyful at 5:30, 6 o'clock, like I said to you last night, that call comes in. It's such a delightful thing. But going back to marriages and divorce now, everybody knows they're feeling divorce. Babies and divorce are going to be an outcome of this pandemic. I have to say, there's also a lot of couples, and Frank and I are in there, that our marriages have improved greatly. And I have friends who, they fell in love, they've had 35, 40 years with children. They didn't think they had anything in common with their spouse anymore. They're thinking they're heading out the door, and they're talking to me, and all of a sudden they're madly in love. They're walking together, they're laughing together. I didn't know he was so funny. It's so nice. So you really can dig deep and find out a lot about yourself and people that you love. And it's an interesting journey that I am observing with families and with couples right now.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. I feel closer to Vincent now than I have in a long time. We're sitting together at night, we're holding hands, we're just sitting next to each other, we're either chatting or watching a show together. But it's funny, I'm really feeling even closer to him. And
such a romantic.
Yes.
Just likes those pillow talk.
Why?
Yeah, and then we go upstairs and we have pillow talk.
Okay, 2 for the price of 1.
And it's funny, Jacqui, because much like you, I thought my business was going to be gone, obliterated, because everything I do is based on face-to-face meetings. But I will tell you, people are reaching out. And I think what's really happening here is people are really realizing that they want to meet someone, they want to connect with someone, they want to have someone to share time with. So I think it's wonderful. I see, unfortunately, you have the different end of the spectrum than I do, but there are some positives that are coming out of this, I think, as well.
I still count my blessings, as we all do. And I just wanted to say for all of us, when we've had our individual conversations, and I would like everybody to know that I know I'm doing a lot of work complimentary because it is a difficult time. And I know we all are. So I just want to add for anyone out there, if there's anybody who needs any of us and money is an issue now, don't worry about it. Just reach out.
You know, it's interesting you say that, Jacqui, because I have a couple of clients who have been furloughed or who have been downsized during this challenging time. And they were like, oh my God, well, I want to put my time on hold, but yet the last thing I want them to do is to walk away and feel like I've deserted them, because it's not really about money. It's really about supporting our clients. It's about supporting them, particularly if you're working and now you found yourself in a position where you're not working. And so I've said to some of the clients, you know, this is on me, you know, let's have a call, or let's have 2 calls on me, so that I can help them keep the momentum going that they were building in terms of pivoting and reinventing or recreating a career. Because so many people right now are finding that they might need to recreate and pivot their careers. Companies are going to feel and look very different when we start going back to work for those that might be furloughed. And so it's really thinking about and re-imaging what that looks like and feels like for so many. But I agree with you, you know, as coaches, it's all about supporting our clients, and where we can support them, I've been able to do that. And it feels really rewarding. And I know how important it is at the end of that call that that client feels relieved that they've had that connection. And I think it goes back to like our connection, you know, connecting with each other, but connecting with that one person that you trust, that's been coaching you or working with you or supporting you through that really challenging or exciting time in your career or life. So it's really been, for me, a tremendous rewarding opportunity to support others in a very interesting and different time.
Yes.
Amie, that's what we talked about, going back to basics. What is really important in life, you know? Yes, it'd be great to, like, you know, build a business on a lot of money, but I think we're all so heart-centered. And that's why we all get along so well, is because we're so authentic. And so we do want to help people. And yes, like you had mentioned, we've all offered a complimentary sessions to those who need it. And in my world, of course, everybody's going through stress and anxiety, depression. The PTSD that's going to come out of this, my heart breaks for people. So I need to help them find their center, get back to, you know, to creating calmness in their life and figuring out where they want to go from here, because it affects not just yourself, it affects your family and all the relationships around you. So I think,
weren't you doing some special thing on your Instagram pages or on your Facebook? I know you were doing.
I had started doing a couple of freebies on different anxiety releasers, whether it was a meditation, whether it was an exercise or an art thing or breathing techniques, little different things I was offering, because that's all you need is just 1 or 2 little nuggets that work best for you. You know, you might not like to meditate, but a breath work you're willing to be open to. You may not like an energy, but you might want to draw or scribble, or, you know, so there's always something you can do, and you just got to be creative about it and figure out what releases anxiety for you.
Well, I was going to say, when this first started and I was packing things up, first of all, I sent you guys pictures of things I couldn't believe I found. But the second thing was I pulled out adult coloring books. And one night when it was just feeling like in between the moving and the packing and everything, it was like, oh my God. And I actually took out adult coloring books and sat there and just colored for about an hour. And I have to tell you, it felt so much better. So even when we did that project with you, Susan, just sort of releasing that and getting your head just to relax, your mind.
Getting it out of your head, getting it out of your heart. It's so important to do, and to face it and then change the thought process, right? That's all anxiety is about, the fear. I mean, I think we were all anxious in the beginnings, like, what is this illness? Do we really have to stay home? Do we have to wear a mask? Do we have to clean everything down? Like, is there going to be toilet paper out there for us? You know, all the anxiety of the unknown. And I think once we've accepted what was going on, it became easier for us, and then we can replan. But I feel bad for those people, and I thank all of you who are in the front line of this. I mean, there's a list of you, and I can't even, remember them all, except for the doctors and the nurses and the firemen, policemen, and groceries people.
People, yeah, so much.
So the mailmen, everybody, we thank you. We really take our hats to you. Because of you, we can all be home and be safe and help others in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. The list would go on and on. It's really, really true. But,
Well,
the biggest hurt is the people who literally, and I wish the government, not political at all, would hurry up with their checks, because there are some people that have no food, no money for food. They're waiting on lines of, I saw in Texas, 2,500 cars backed up. That's where my heart breaks too, for the poor people who.
Right, and if you can donate, if anybody can clean up the closets, their clothing and their food pantry,
everything.
Please make a donation. If you donate blood, donate your plasma. If there's so much we can do, and I think
your time too. My daughter, you ladies know, is sewing masks for the Bergen County Mask Task Force. I'm going to show you some of her work. So,
yes.
Does she sell? This is a little bit. So anybody wants to donate time, they're looking for drivers, they're looking for sewers who can make masks for people on the front line who are in the hospital, who need to be able to cover their N95 masks. So that's the Bergen County Mask Task Force. And you can drive, you can donate materials. They're desperate for materials, thread, but there's always something you can do. There's always something you can do. And even if it is just reaching out to a loved one, a friend, someone, a neighbor who's alone, to be there for them.
I've been doing with some of my clients, just texting because they cannot get on a phone. And my daughter, actually, we start the day with a gratitude list. We send each other 5 things we're grateful for, and then 2 tasks we want to accomplish today. So and the tasks also have to include, as an additional one, 2 people to reach out to that you haven't talked to in a while, to check in and see how they're doing. So just these little, and I live in a building, and there's a lot of elderly people here who are ill. So when I go to the market, I shop for them too.
That's great.
That is great.
But it's not a lot, again, because I'm on the a little elderly side myself, so I can't overexpose. I wish I could go every day, trying to keep my own health too, but doing whatever you can, and cleaning out my closet. There are going to be a lot of women for Dress for Success that need clothing, the vets, all these just little things while you're around the house. Crank up the music and get going, right?
Yeah. Whoop it up, baby. Whoop it up, Wednesday.
Yeah. So Julianne, we didn't talk about it, but sometimes, what do you do? People are dating, and what do they do during this time? Because there's social distancing, the awkwardness now. So what happens?
Yeah, so we've had to pivot. And just basically embrace other avenues. As I say, technology has revolutionized the way people meet, dating apps and such. Now it's revolutionizing how people are actually dating. So they can, use FaceTime, they can use Zoom, they can go on virtual dates to a museum or a zoo or what have you. So it's really been very interesting, but people are very open. I think because they're isolated, they're alone, they're really open, and they're having awareness that they want to meet someone. So that's what people can do today.
Julianne, you do a virtual date in the museum. Sorry.
So you log on, and it's like you're taken through virtually. And so you're on your computer and they're on theirs, and you can actually do it simultaneously.
I love the creativity that comes out of something like this.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And Amie, your clients, how are they managing this as business owners?
It's been very mixed. And I think for some business owners, they have found creative ways, like you talked about, to do business. You do business online. I think that if, a lot of people are beginning to sell products, and I'll use, for instance, my hair salon, as she was one of the first to actually put on Facebook and Instagram, make your own kits. And she became inventive, and she's very progressive. And it was way before a lot of salons had done it. I mean, we're talking like a couple of days after the shutdown began. And so that people could actually get hair color, and she did a video and she did great things. And it was just fascinating to see what she had done. Her name's Christine. And I was blown away by what she did, but just the supportiveness and how she did it, and really being available to her clients, to people who actually had jobs, who have been downsized, and really just trying to find other ways, like you talked about, to give back. And, you know, one of my neighbors works for a sports magazine, and she was actually just putting things out there on Instagram because her husband is a doctor and works at St. Joe's. And she was really trying to find support through the industry from her media world. She works with models, and just trying to get the support to get masks made because they were running out of things. And so she leveraged her resources and her relationships and her partnerships to really help build opportunities for people to make masks to support some of these hospitals. So I think people, like you said, Jacqui, are becoming really inventive, very creative. I even think, you know, my daughter, who's a YouTuber and not herself, but loves to watch YouTube, has shown me videos of things that people have done just to reconnect and continue to perform and continue to practice in the music world. So I think that what's happened is people are just now really finding ways to pivot, but have that creativity to support them in things that they do differently in business. And I think that, you know, we always talk about what's the new normal, but the new normal is going to be the way you innovate and change the way you run a business. And that's what I've seen. I mean, we've all had to do it too. I, though, was using Zoom like most of you to work with clients. So it really wasn't that huge of a pivot, but working in person with what I do and some of the other parts of my business and the other ways that I work really did shift, because I wasn't commuting, I wasn't going into New York City, working from home. And that's really different, because that all of a sudden you go from working with a lot of people, like you said, Jacqui, to loneliness. So connecting like this and having a vibe group or a tribe that we really enjoy being with has been so important, and finding innovative ways to have a happy hour.
A lot of those. I speak for myself. I've done a lot of those.
Yeah, but I want to tap into something Susan said, though. So I have found this really great tool, which is something that allows you to turn it upside down. Hopefully it's showing up here.
It is. It's showing up.
But it allows you to breathe for 5 minutes, because the biggest problem from working at home is that you don't get up from your desk and breathe and relax, because you work. And that's the thing that I am hearing from a lot of people. Their working time and their hours have extended because they're not communicating, they're not doing other things. So they're starting earlier and they're working, they're not getting up, they're not taking a break, they're not relaxing, and then they're working late at night. So this has been a great little tool to take 5 minutes out. And I have to remind myself to get up for 5 minutes and walk around and then come back.
Yeah, it's known for brain activity to actually get up every half hour, to walk for a few minutes and come back. And at nighttime, oh my God, if you just put away the phone and the computer at a certain
Not even a question. Away.
Yeah, it's away. Same.
Set your boundaries. Set your boundaries. And
I've been doing that for a long time, and I've told all my clients, phones don't come in the bedroom, you don't pick it up first thing during the day. But speaking about working alone, I'll speak for my husband now, because he's alone, like nobody can come in the office. There's no closings, there's no realtors, there's no his assistant, unfortunately. The one thing he did when he moved the office last year, which was great, is that he did the stand-up with the computer. He doesn't sit at a desk anymore.
Right, he has a stand-up. Yes.
Was he doing squats?
Well, now, because he's spending a little extra time with me in the morning, but he could be working a little later, and the weather hasn't been great yet, he has his sneakers at work. He goes out and runs during lunch. He brought weights in, and in between, he's stopping and doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And, you know, that's, again, he never would have done that before. And it actually breaks up the day. It's a nice thing.
Oh, that's a great virtual date. You can actually work out together.
That's great. You stole my line, Amy.
And one other thing I'm seeing that I absolutely love for the animal lovers, and I have 3 friends who now went from fostering to adopting in the last few months.
My sister-in-law just adopted.
And you know what? We're not going to be traveling as much for a while either.
Right.
A lot of people are adopting older pets that normally were unadoptable. And it's a great thing. It just warms my heart to see stuff like that.
Yeah.
So looking at the positive, guys, just
Oh,
looking
without a doubt. There's always a silver lining.
So I think we're just about at the half-hour mark, so I don't want to keep everybody. And I so love what we did, and I can't wait for next week. We're going to do this again?
Absolutely. Whoop it up on Wednesday.
Whoop it up. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I want to just say, everybody, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us. I'm Julianne Cantarella.
I am Jacqui Atcheson.
I'm Amie Blumberg.
And I'm Susan Greif, and we are
We're live with the vibe.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Bye all.
Bye-bye.